Okay, oops. Hello everyone, this is Kerri from Razor Sharp Crafts, and I'm working on a tutorial on how to put together a mini album, and these tutorials are posted on minialbumscraps.ning.com. After you sign up, you'll see there's a tutorials tab. You click on that, there's a drop down, and it opens up into a new page or whatever, and you'll see all the tutorials listed there. My blog is razorsharpcrafts.blogspot.com. Please check out my blog because, as I've said on the past few videos, there's some projects on there that I have done that I did not video, so you could check them out, and anything you want to see tutorials on, just ask, and I will try to work it into my schedule the best I can. Sorry, getting my morning intake of caffeine. Okay, so before we get started, I just want to say this album will not be completed before I leave for the States. My leaving date got moved up, and we're now going to start trying to leave tomorrow, which is Saturday. So there's no way I can get this album done today. I mean, unless I could just craft the whole entire day. But I wouldn't be able to record all that, and it's just not possible for me to do with 3 kids. Plus, I still have to pack. And like I say, we're leaving tomorrow. Like, we're heading for the terminal at like 5 o'clock in the morning. So it's just not going to be possible. And I am very sorry. But as soon as I'm back from the States, which will be about the 2nd week of July, I will get back working on it. But I'm sorry, there's nothing else I can do. It's just the way it fell. Originally, I thought I'd have the weekend and I'd at least get the pages done, but like I say, I have to start trying to leave tomorrow, or else there's a chance that I won't get out. So we can talk more about that while I'm crafting though, so let me just go ahead and get started. Before we get started on the page we're going to do today, I just want to say I went back to this page and I realized I forgot to ink the edges of this back mat for the photo mat. So I did just this. I just rubbed on it, and luckily it's a color paper where even if you get a little bit on it, it's not hugely noticeable. So and it probably actually would just add a little bit more character. So yeah, I just went through. So if you haven't put the album together yet and you're just watching these ahead of time, make sure when you're watching this tutorial on this page, you ink this. If you didn't think of it while you were doing it. I should have thought of it, I didn't. But anywho, so I did that yesterday. Yesterday I didn't get a chance to do a video, but I did get a chance to do this. Everything we need for today's cut, edges inked. You see I got all this done. And right as I was getting ready to turn the camera on to start putting it together to record it, my son woke up from his nap. So that's how it goes. So, anywho. Alright, so we're going to get started on this page. This is one really interactive page. Alright, so this is our base page. This paper was cut at 7 3/4 by 7 inches. On the, if you put it on your score mat, like your scoreboard, like this, the 7 3/4 side, score 1/4 inch from one side. Okay, and then we're just going to, and then I inked all my edges, and I rounded these just because I was like, I want to add a little bit of, I don't know, extra flair. So anyways, I explained it in an earlier video, but I travel what's called Space A on a military plane. And if there's space for me to get on, I get on. If there's not space, then I sit and I wait. Well, my oldest son is from my husband's first marriage, and he has visitation with his mother. So that's one of the main reasons we're going to the States, is for his visitation. But so we have to get there in time for that. And school lets out here in Germany, the Department of Defense schools, which is what the American kids go to usually. The schools on base. Schools let out here in Germany at on the 13th, I believe is the last day. And once school lets out, everybody's heading for the States. So it is dang near impossible to get out. I just marked this 1 inch from the edge and put it down. And once again, should have inked in here before. Just inking right on the edge of that, where that connected. But anywho, how they determine who gets out first is done by category. And it's categories 1 through 6. 1 being you get out first, 6 being you're going to sit around and wait. Well, I'm going to be category 5. So like once school lets out, like nobody below category 3 usually gets out. So that's why I have to go before the school gets out. Originally my husband was going to go with me, so it wasn't going to be that big of a deal, because if he's with me, I'm category 3. So we may wait a day or two, but we would have gotten out, no doubt about it. But that's just the way it happens, and we just have to deal with it. He got his leave just wasn't going to work out for him to go. So, but I'm going to take the kids and go ahead anyways. Sorry, I'm trying to get the video up. I wanted to take one more look at the video of my other album. I wanted to take a look at this page. But anyways, so yeah, I'm going to be category 5. So I'm going to try to get out before school lets out. Otherwise, I don't know what I'll do. Losing my train of thought here, peeps. Alright, anywho. So I hope y'all understand. And so basically I'm just going to be sitting in a terminal with 3 kids, waiting for a flight out. Waiting for them to call my name and say, "You have been chosen. You are the chosen one." So it can be a pain, but it's worth it because we don't pay anything for it. I didn't pick out a paper to use though. So we need to pick out 2 that go well together. Alright, I need 2 that go pretty well together. I kind of like those, the blues. I'm going to have to use this red here at some point. Alright, so that is why I have to change my plans and leave earlier. If something happens and we don't get out tomorrow, then I'll come back home. But chances of me getting any crafting done will be slim because the weekends, my 4-year-old doesn't go to school, obviously. Well, I've already notified the school that today was going to be the last day that they would be in school. My 2 oldest. So, they won't have school even if we don't get out. So, I hope that makes sense to y'all. I know there's a few of you that are waiting on this to get finished so you can make the album, but I don't mean to sound rude, but my family comes first. And my son has to go see his mother, so and I can't get any more done today than what we'll probably get done right here. So just for sheer, I have a lot of other stuff to get done today. My husband will probably be like, well, what'd you even craft for anyways? You know, but I had this stuff all cut out, so I said, well, I can get that page done. And I mean, you may be able to, after doing this many pages with me, you might be able to go and look at my album and figure out how to put it together yourself. I mean, it's now seeing the way I do pages. Alright, so we need this at 7 by 6 3/4. Did I get my head in there? Probably. I don't know how much you all love seeing the top of my head. My hair yanked back in a knot. I yank it back like that when I craft, just because it makes it where it's not like falling down in front of my face. I need to get it trimmed. I just kind of cleaned up some, you know. Alrighty. I might get that done while I'm in the States if I can. Might be hard having the kids by myself, but we'll see. I'm sure my mom would watch them so that I can get a haircut. So I'm excited anyways, though. I mean, I'm always in the States, and I'm like, just kind of sitting around watching TV, and I'm like, which we don't have TV here, so I really enjoy being able to watch TV. But there's times when we're sitting there, and I'm like, wow, I wish I had my craft stuff so I could craft. Because, you know, like the grandparents are usually busy with the kids, and you're just kind of obsolete because you don't matter anymore because it's now about the grandchildren, not about you. So it's kind of funny because I'm like, oh, I want to craft, but I don't have any craft supplies. Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is going to be a pocket that's just going to go on the back of this page. And this measures 8 1/4 by 3 1/2. And then, as you can see, score it on a 1/2 inch on each of these sides, and then this bottom side. Fold your scores in, ink your edges, and then corner chomp, your one corresponding corner that is going to line up with this corner. And then you just get out the handy dandy score tape or whatever you're using. But yeah, I'm excited and to see everybody, have everybody see the kids, because like I said in a previous video, nobody's seen the baby since he was 2 months old, and he's now he'll be 12, 13, he'll be almost 14 months old. And, well, nobody in Ohio. My family in New York saw him in November, because my mom watched them for me, well, watched him and my 4-year-old when I went home in November to go to my best friend's wedding. And the wedding was in New Orleans. So I dropped my kids off with my mom, and then I drove to New Orleans. Yes, I do love to drive. That is why I drive everywhere. I hate flying. I literally hate flying. And yes, I do get asked, why'd you join the Air Force if you hate to fly? Well, when I was in the Air Force, my job was a vehicle operator. So I drove. I was basically a government truck driver. So, yeah, it wasn't, okay. So this is already cut to size to 6 3/4 inches. So we just need a 3/4 inch. But yeah, I was a glorified truck driver basically. So, I drove. When I went to Afghanistan, I ran it was called a 240 Bravo, M240 Bravo, which is a gun, a machine gun. And I was the gunner in a gun truck convoy, which I take very much pride in that, because I was on a team of 20. I was the only female, and when we got assigned what our jobs would be in the convoy, excuse me, everybody just assumed because I was, because I was the only girl, that I was just going to be a driver. And when our leadership was reading off names and jobs, when they said gunner, like everybody's mouth dropped. Everybody was like, what? Because, you know, why make the only female on the team a gunner when there's all these big tough guys that can be gunners? But I was really close with my leadership. And when I asked them later why I was chosen to be a gunner, 7 by, we'll do 4.5. We'll do 4.5. 7 by 4.5. But when I asked my management why they chose me to be a gunner out of everybody that was on the team, they said the day we were out shooting, I outshot pretty much all the men. They were very impressed with the way I was shooting, so I had to laugh at that. But anyways, so my tour to Afghanistan, I ran a gun in convoys that were on the ground. So I didn't fly. I flew to Afghanistan, and out of Afghanistan. But I didn't fly. That looks good. So yeah, I didn't join the Air Force to fly. I joined the Air Force to get out of New York. For the education benefits. And I got my education benefits. I met an amazing man who is now my husband, who has given me 3 beautiful baby boys. So, and I got out of New York. Heck, I'm in Germany. Trying to go back to New York. Figure that one out. So, alright, so that's what we got so far. Okay, and now we need to cut a piece to cover all of this. Where'd my ruler go? Marco. Oh no, there it is. So, that is my story. So this... See, this is like right between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 5/8 and 8 3/4. So I'm going to cut it at that notch just above 8 1/2. I'll show you what I mean. On here, because this has 1/16 of it. So this one right here is 5/8. And here's my 3/4. So, what did I say I was going to cut it at? The notch. Right before 5/8. So, okay. This is 5/8. So I'm going to cut it at this notch, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it'd be 9/16, I guess. 8 9/16 of an inch by 6 3/4. So we want the writing to be legible or readable. So we'll cut it that way. We got the 6 3/4. Okay. And you notice I'm putting it over this flap. Because like when I just set it down, it lined up to that flap, and I was like, wow, I cut it way too big. I forgot I want it to cover that seam. And around the edges. So, since we're talking about my military career, I will say I do not ever regret joining the military. I miss it at times. I miss the camaraderie that you have in your shop. All your buddies, because being a spouse is kind of difficult. Because it's harder to make friends, especially when you're just a stay-at-home mom and you don't work outside the home. It's really hard because basically your friends are your husband's friends. And then their wives. And I gotta tell you, there's a lot of military wives that drive me nuts. I'm sorry to say, but they do. Oh my God, so many of them, they just complain about stupid stuff. And I'm sorry to say that, but they really do at times. My husband says that I'm a lot different though from military wives, because with being military at one point, I understand the military better. Two 3/4 by 7. So yeah, so he says that that's the reason that a lot of stuff gets to me more, because whereas the spouses that have only ever been a spouse, basically all they know is what their husbands tell them, so they're kind of left out of the loop a little bit, you know? Because let me tell you what, husbands don't always tell you everything you need to know when sorry, excuse my language, when stuff's going on. Or they just don't think to tell you. Because I see it a lot with my husband now. But whereas when I was active duty, you're told everything. They help you to understand it more. Like you understand why the Air Force does what they do, or the military in general does what they do. Whereas when you're just a spouse, you don't understand because nobody's really told you. I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but... So this is 2 3/4 by 7. Corner chomped our edge that corresponds with that edge. But yeah, I don't know if my ramblings make sense or not, but... it's just different. I don't regret getting out though, because I love being a stay-at-home mom with my 4-year-old. I missed a lot, and so now I'm with my newest child. I'm home more with him. Why is that not lining up? I don't miss everything. I'm not at work when he does something cute. I'm here to see it, you know? Alright, so we're just going to trim that. Because of the fold, it's causing it to be a little bit lower, but that's alright. We're just going to trim it off once we get this attached and we see where we need it. So yes, I'm very glad I got out. So this is 4 by 4. Yeah, 4 inches by 4 inches. This is 4 inches by 4.5 inches. Scored at a 1/2 inch on just one side. And you just put score tape on the inside this time. Instead of, we've always been putting it on this outside, put it on the inside this time. And then we're just going to lay this down in here. So yeah, and then voila. So yeah, my husband's like, well, you know, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt. They don't have the experience that you do from being military. Yada, yada, yada. So it's like, I understand that, but there have been spouses where I've tried to explain stuff to them, and it's just like they don't want to hear it. Not every spouse, but there have been some where I've tried to explain, well, this is why they do this, you know? And it's like they don't want to understand because they want to just buck the system. And I'm just like, seriously? That's just messed up. We have the military for a reason, and they need to train for a reason. So I'm just trying to get my edges kind of level here. But yeah, it's more like the younger spouses where they're just coming in and, you know, they're still at that point where they think they know everything because they're young. I miss those days. I miss knowing everything. I was like that too. Heck, I drove my parents nuts be like every other kid because I thought I knew everything at like the age of, I don't know, 13. But I don't mean to offend anybody either. If there's military spouses watching these, I don't mean to offend anybody. And I'm not putting down the military spouse because, man, we deal with a lot. And it is a lot to take in. I mean, no one else is ever going to understand what it's like to have their husband gone for 6 months to a year to 15 months, whatever the deployment length is. No one else understands that. I once had somebody try to compare their husband going to, like off on a business meeting to my husband deploying. He said, oh, yes. I hope nobody shoots him at that business meeting. I mean, I'm sure that that person missed their husband while he was gone. But don't try to compare it and say it's the same thing. Don't ever do that to a military spouse because, yeah, you're just gonna upset them. So, all right, this is 2.5 by 5, scored at 1/4 inch on 3 sides, and then fold them in and put your score tape on them. So wow, today's video has kind of been a military tangent. Sorry. Guess a lot of it has to do with this pending trip because I really wish my husband was still going with me. I really look forward to our summer vacations, and now it's kind of basically ruined. I mean, we're still going to make the best of it and have fun, but I just really wish he was going to be there with us. There, then just line up your bottom and put it together. Line up the bottoms. And you have a pretty little pocket. Oh, perfect. I love it when you grab a scrap piece of paper and it's like gonna work out perfect size. May even be better off using this one. Let me see if I have a smaller one. Always look through your scraps, especially if you've already used the paper. Once, you may have a scrap that'll fit. You never know. Always check. Okay, don't though. I mean, if you wanted to, you can use a completely different pattern paper if you have a small scrap that will fit and you're like, oh, cool, you know. But I personally want to keep it the same. I like the way it looked on the last album, so. And then we're just going to adhere that down like that. This is 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. So if you haven't noticed by now, I do everything a 1/4 of an inch shorter. So it leaves about, it's about 1/8 of an inch border. If you want a 1/4 of an inch border, you just go 1/2 of an inch smaller, and it'd give you a 1/4 of an inch all the way around. But I think the 1/8 of an inch looks good. And then we're going to attach this right here. I wonder. I don't remember what I used. Just bringing up the video again. I'm going to go ahead and get my score tape on the back of this while I'm waiting. There it is. Okay.